All right, the time is 6 p.m. I will call to order this meeting of the Winooski City Council. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Deputy Mayor Bryn Oakley. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Agenda review. Councilors, is there anything on tonight's agenda that you would like to change, move, or talk about before we start our meeting?
No.
I will say on consent agenda item D, there is an ask for us to have a discussion and take an action in there, which I guess we can do in the consent, but I'd rather just move that to be our first regular item.
Well, while we're talking about removing things from consent item G, I'd like to remove just to have a discussion, brief discussion about that too.
Okay, so then I propose that consent item D and consent item G become regular items A and B. Motion to approve that.
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Wonderful. All right, this time now is for public comment. This is a moment for folks to offer comment on items that are not on tonight's agenda. I'll ask that you come up to the table to give your public comment and speak into the microphone. State your name and the street that you live on. Direct all of your comments to City Council. Staff will follow up with you at a later date. And if you can keep your comments to about 2 minutes, if you need to go over, just let me know and we can assess. There's not a ton of people in the room right now. If you are attending online, test your camera and mic before joining, if possible, although you probably already joined. And we'll need your real and first and last name, as we don't have you signed in here in the building. With that given, is there any public comment in the building today?
There is, but there's, are we supposed to bring that form that everybody signed?
If you don't have the form, you don't have to wait for it. You can do public comment, yeah, at any time.
Mr. Chair. Evening.
Evening.
My name is Jared Ayres. I live on Florida Avenue, 3 Florida Avenue. We have a petition for speed bumps in our road. They're supposed to bring it. The other guys aren't here yet. But I'm speaking because my daughter is hard of hearing. And the cars seem to fly through that street because I think it's a shortcut to get to Main Road or whatever. And with her ears and stuff, it's difficult for her to hear the cars, first of all. And then, yeah, so I think it's a good thing for speed bumps in our road. Humps, speed humps, bumps, I don't know. So, yeah, that's all for me.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you.
Thank you, Jared.
Thank you so much.
All right, there are folks online. Does anybody online have any public comment? All right, not seeing any public comment online. Some more folks just entered the room. Folks, we're doing public comment right now. Do you have any items that you'd like to talk about that aren't on tonight's agenda? No? Okay. In that case, we will move on from public comment. Thank you very much. All right, consent agenda. On tonight's consent agenda, we have approval of City Council meeting minutes of June 1st, payroll warrant of May 24 through June 6th, accounts payable warrant of June 11, municipal official designations for code enforcement staff, Vermont Bond Bank certificate of project completion, sidewalk permit, library 65 Winooski Falls Way. Seek a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Perfect. Consent agenda passes. Thank you. Council reports. Let's start with Councilor Goodrich.
The Finance Commission met on June 9th and discussed the community engagement for the draft comprehensive plan, economic vitality goals and objectives related to tomorrow's comprehensive plan open night series. That is an event on economic vitality. We encourage you to attend this community event to give feedback on the draft goals for how Winooski can maintain and further strengthen the city's economic health in the future. The Planning Commission also met June 9th to continue the discussion on the Building Typologies project, diving into topics including density, scale, lot coverage, and how features such as front porches should be counted. The Commission also discussed the number of permittable units per building, ways to maintain privacy without reducing density, such as raising the first floor above pedestrian areas, and the need to replace vague language like character or DNA of Winooski to avoid ambiguity. Join the Planning Commission for their next meeting this Wednesday, June 17th at 6:30 here at City Hall or on Zoom.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor.
Safe Healthy Connected had a joint meeting with Inclusion and Belonging on Thursday. Since we met during the regular Inclusion and Belonging time, I'm going to allow Councilor Turcos to provide more in-depth updates, since that's the commission that they are assigned to. We did have a robust conversation on background checks, and I'm looking forward to bringing that to more commissions in the near future. Housing Commission is scheduled to meet on June 23rd. We're discussing our agenda at the moment, and depending on whether or not we have anything robust to discuss, we may end up canceling this month. So to be determined, but that decision will be made in the near future. And Chittenden Solid Waste District will have their regularly scheduled annual meeting as well as monthly board meeting on Wednesday, June 24th. To see the agenda and to attend in person or online, just visit cswd.net and look for the board meeting information.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Councilor Turcos.
There was an airport commission meeting on June 3rd. Nothing substantial outside of normal topics, sorry. I want to really focus on the I&B meeting that we had on June 11th, as Deputy Mayor Oakleaf just commented on. As she mentioned, we had a very substantial conversation around background checks, which we at City Council had discussed. And I'm really grateful to the Inclusion and Belonging Chair King, who did a pretty extensive effort to have community members join us. We talked about background checks. Our city manager was there as well. Our chief of police was also there, which I know really meant a lot to members of the community to have him be there as a part of the conversation. We ended the meeting basically at a space that said that this conversation needed to continue, which I really appreciated. There were many people in the community who shared stories about how background checks would personally impact them, which I know was, I'm not going to make an assumption and say difficult. I'm just going to say that it was really wonderful to share a trusted space with community members. So I'm really grateful to the Inclusion and Belonging Commission and the Safe, Healthy, Connected People Commission. And we have a special airport commission meeting coming up on the 23rd of June.
Thank you. Councilor Ogilvie.
Yeah, so this month's Municipal Infrastructure Commission meeting will be postponed to July due to lack of agenda items. If residents have ideas you'd like to discuss at the MIC meetings, please email me with possible items to discuss. We hope to hear from folks and see you at our next meeting.
Awesome. I was away for my last planning commission meeting, so thank you, Elsie, for attending that for me and giving us a great update. City updates.
Sure. Winooski Board, Commission, and Committee terms are expiring on June 30, 2026. Residents with relevant experience, skills, interests, or a willingness to engage are encouraged to apply for these opportunities and participate in local government. Groups include the Development Review Board, Finance Commission, Housing Commission, Inclusion and Belonging Commission, Local Resources Advisory Board, Municipal Infrastructure Commission, Planning Commission, Safe, Healthy, Connected People Commission, and the Winooski Memorial Library Committee. The City Council and staff welcome a diversity of voices, and if you've never served on a board, commission, or committee before, we will do our best to support you. To learn more and apply, you can visit winooskivt.gov/news. Everyone is also invited to, as Councilor Goodrich was alluding to, the City of Winooski's Comprehensive Plan Open House Series. Comprehensive plans serve as a guide for local government projects and budgeting for the community. By state law, cities and towns adopt a comprehensive plan every 8 years. Winooski is due to adopt our next one in March of 2027, and we want as many people's voices informing the plan as possible. We'll have 4 open houses this summer, each one focused on a particular topic. As Elsie mentioned, the next one will be held tomorrow on Tuesday, June 16th from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Winooski Senior Center. That's at 23 Barlow Street. It will focus on the economic vitality section of the 2019 master plan and the 2017 economic development plan. As you can tell, it's been a little bit, so information from the public would be great. Light refreshments will be provided at the open house. And finally, it's been a big month for our community services department and those who make use of those services. We're happy to report that the Winooski Memorial Library successfully moved to its temporary location at 65 Winooski Falls Way, while the O'Brien Community Center gets ready for renovation. The space looks great, and it's been also great to see library regulars and community members new to the library enjoying that space. Learn more about open hours and programs at winooskivt.gov/library. And the Recreation and Parks and Public Works teams have successfully kicked off the 2026 Myers Memorial Pool season. You can still get season pool passes and learn more about swim lessons and programs at winooskivt.gov/pool.
Thank you for all of that, and the Deputy Mayor just reminded me, Juneteenth, we are celebrating this Wednesday in Winooski, 5 to 8 in Rotary Park. Please join members of your community to experience what has been, for a couple years now, one of my favorite events and a really fun event. And again, thanks to Downtown Winooski and city staff who helped make that happen. So again, that's this Wednesday from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. In Rotary Park. Thank you. All right. And I see that you came in with Jared.
Yes.
Had you wanted to be here for public comment?
I actually wanted to drop off the petition
Okay,
because I have the physical copy.
sure. Did you want to say anything about it?
Sure.
Does council want to open public comment back up?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay.
Yes, is that fine?
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
Do I have to sit or?
Yes, if you can
Yes.
please sit and then just state your name.
Yep. My name is Richard Levolivo. I live on Florida Avenue. We actually, as a community, decided to get together and see if we can get some calming measures on Florida Avenue because people use it as a cut through to Main Street, so they don't have to deal with any Main Street traffic. I know that we are up for new sidewalks and repaving, whether it's this year or next year, but it already has been approved. And we're hoping to get speed bumps added on to it before they do the road, so we don't have to tear up the newly paved road to then put speed bumps in. Obviously, you already heard from Jared, but I just wanted to drop this off and make everyone aware of it. I've already sent in a form to have the city works department look at, like, I guess, do their calming measures, whatever that may be. Yeah, that was it.
Okay. Richard, thank you. You can give that to us, and from what I have heard from staff, that paving isn't going to be happening this year. So
Yeah.
more likely next year, hopefully.
Okay, that's excellent.
Yeah, yeah.
But thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I don't
Thanks for
know.
bringing your little one.
Yeah.
All right. We will move back to our regular items then. And we're going to start with approval, board, commission. Thank you. Board, commission, committee appointments. I know we have a bunch of staff listed here, but I don't really know that we need any of them to speak because there's so many different different boards and commissions here. I don't want them all to have to speak about it, but I think if everybody was able to read the memo, it's pretty clear. The only reason I wanted to pull it out is because for planning commission there is a choice for us to make here. 2 members are being elevated or being proposed to be elevated from their alternate roles, becoming full-time members, and then 2 people have applied. One of those people would be a full-time member, and one would be an alternate. We also can throw the whole thing in the air and change that order around however we would like. My recommendation, given that Trevor and Matt have already served on the commission, is say that we stick with what has been recommended to us, that they become full members. And I don't know if that's the right term, but that's what I'm using. I think everyone knows what I mean. That Ruby becomes a full member, and Brian, who's here, thank you, becomes the alternate. Ruby has some particularly interesting experience in that she has worked for the city before. Which during our interview, I was like, why do I recognize you? And then finally I realized why. And she also currently works for the town of Colchester. So I think that it's kind of, that's an interesting set of experiences. We haven't had anyone, at least on this commission that I know of recently, who has worked in the city, maybe in any of the other commissions, but I'm not sure, I won't say that. But she's also gonna have another perspective from our neighboring town. I think Colchester's a town, not a city. And also I do like, you know, we're striving in all different areas for diversity, and I think Ruby bringing a woman brings some nice diversity to that commission as well. So that would be my proposal. Happy to hear any other thoughts from councilors. If not, I will just seek a motion to approve this slate with Ruby coming in as the full member and Brian as the alternate. And I will, just for you all to know, Mike O'Brien, who chairs that commission, although alternates are, you know, we have a technical ruling of when they can vote and how they are to participate, Mike very much encourages all members of his commission to be fully engaged, whether they're an alternate or not an alternate. So he sees them very much as equals and not as somebody who should only attend if somebody who isn't an alternate isn't able to attend. He kind of hopes that everyone will be there for every meeting. So I think I saw, yeah.
I do notice that we have some of the proposed commissioners in the audience online and in the room.
Perfect.
So I don't know if you want to give an opportunity for comment?
Yes. If you are, obviously Brian, I know that you are, but if any of the folks online would like to introduce yourselves to council and just a brief why you were interested in applying. And Brian, if you'd like, you're welcome to do that. You also don't have to, maybe you just wanted to see how we're gonna vote.
Good evening, everybody. Brian Colombini here. I live on Winooski Falls Way. Been a Winooski resident for a little over 4 years. And I applied to the Planning Commission this year because I love how connected we are as a community, and have increasingly come to realize that that's not always by accident, that policy and planning really shapes how the city develops over time and how we create those community connections, and also where there are still divides. I started following more of the commission's work like 6 to 9 months ago, and have felt like it's been like a real learning experience to learn everything that goes into planning. And I think that the commission's work is really urgent, especially when it comes to our priority housing needs. And as somebody who lives in a car-free household in the city, also recognize that providing different transportation solutions and options and freedoms for people intersects quite a bit with planning and housing. And that's something that I hope to bring my perspective on to the commission, and am very happy to fill the alternate seat. I think it's really important that we do retain as much like gender diversity and representation on the commissions as that like avenue for community input as we can. And also thank Mike, the chair of the commission, and the rest of the commission for like treating all the alternates as equal members and really welcoming perspective from the commission members and members of the public alike.
Awesome, thank you.
Thanks.
Anybody online, would you like to introduce yourselves to council? And if you do, just raise your hand. And again, totally fine if you don't. Okay. Are any other questions? Seek a motion?
So moved.
Nope. Brett?
I wasn't sure if you had anything on finance.
No.
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 Okay, all right.
Thank you.
I will mention that Safe Healthy Connected is not on here. We weren't able to coordinate interviews in time for this evening, so those hopefully will be on our July meeting.
Okay.
Or a special meeting, we'll see.
Oh gosh. Oh, that's fine. Thank you.
But that, I just wanted to mention that recruitment for both Housing Commission and Safe Healthy Connected Commission are welcome. So as you hear others that have interest, please send them my way.
Same for inclusion and belonging. But I would move a motion.
Thank you.
Seconded?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Wonderful, thank you, that passes. Brian, thank you, you're welcome to stay, of course, but congratulations. All right, our next item will be, let me find it, approval sidewalk permit, right.
Actually, I'm gonna defer that one back to Elaine, because I think my name was put on there. I have not had anything to do with that particular sidewalk permit.
No worries, all right.
Sorry about that.
Thank you.
Yeah, so actually, no, I can't remember why, but city council did weigh in on this permit before. They're requesting a picnic table outside and a trash receptacle, and then Deputy Mayor Oakleaf reached out and reminded us that they also will need a recycling receptacle. So that was, I think, the reason why she pulled it into regular, so that you could opt to require that.
I appreciate that, and sorry, I know you pulled this, I just wanted to say something, because in the cover sheet, it rightly says, as we have asked for, that we need to be in ADA compliant manner, and I do want to give a reminder to all of our businesses, and you know who you are if you need this reminder. All of your sidewalk seats, chairs, tables must be ADA compliant. It's not something that we're asking to be pesky or to try to reduce how many turnovers of tables you can do. This council is very small business forward, but we also have to make sure that everybody in our community is able to enjoy our businesses. And I have been out a few times where I have encountered our sidewalks that are not ADA compliant at all. So I please ask you as a business owner to make sure that when you're placing your items outside for people to enjoy your wonderful establishments, that you're making sure that they meet ADA compliance. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. Elaine?
And just for clarification, the violation that we often get called out for to enforce is 5-foot clearance in any part of the sidewalk. So you have to be able to travel next to anything that the business is putting out, and a curb, there has to be 5 foot so that basically a wheelchair can get through. But anyone else who needs a little bit of extra room would benefit from that as well.
Exactly. Thank you for letting folks know what that actually means, what I was saying. Bryn, I appreciate you pulling this out. I agree, and please share your thoughts with us.
Sure. I am very excited to expand the business opportunity, and I just wanted to ensure that while we were approving it, that we were also ensuring that it was in conformance with the ordinance of Chittenden Solid Waste District, as well as the state law that requires any trash receptacle that is publicly accessible is paired with a recycling receptacle that are both labeled clearly.
Anything else anyone would like to add? All right, I would seek a motion then to approve this item with the added changes presented from the deputy mayor.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Wonderful, thank you, everybody. All right, we will now go on to what is regular item C, overview of amendments to unified land use and development regulations, and this is a public hearing. So what I am looking to do right now is to open up the public hearing. I'll seek a motion from councilors to do that.
So moved. Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, the public hearing is open. This is now a moment for us, for all of us to hear questions and concerns or comments from the public. After we have heard those comments from the public, we'll then close the public hearing and we can have our discussion. All right, that said, there's one person in the room, Brian. Is there anything you'd like to offer on this item? No? Okay. There are some folks online. Would anybody online like to offer public comment during this public hearing period? And if you do, again, just raise your hand. And I'll wait a little longer on this one because it's a public hearing. Okay. Seeing no members of the public for this public hearing, I will seek a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Seconded.
Elaine, I see you thinking.
Give me a moment.
All right.
Is there anything that's gonna get held up if we delay this adoption?
I'm not sure what you're getting at.
Properly. Most people don't realize it's a public hearing.
Oh, okay. You should probably disclose that then.
Well, yes, so my point is, if we ask them to delay it, do you see an issue?
No. So, I guess procedurally,
Oh,
Elaine.
I can say
yeah,
this
just-
was my error, so.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanna, I think, go ahead.
So Thomas noticed that this was not warned as a public hearing, and so I wanted to ask Revy if it would cause some sort of issue if you decided to delay adoption. And he doesn't seem to think there might be something. But you should know, and the public should be, who is attending to this one or listening, they should realize that this was supposed to be a public hearing. So maybe we could redo the public hearing.
I see what you mean. You mean in the agenda?
Yes, yeah.
Gotcha.
Like the posted agenda just says discussion and overview instead of public
Instead
hearing.
of public hearing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's, so, that's a real interesting procedural question that we have the right person in the room for. I would,
Hi.
would you like to weigh in on this?
Poor Kathy isn't sure what we're talking about yet. I mean, I think we can postpone, we can set a new date for a public hearing. I think it's more like, is it gonna mess up your work?
No, it wouldn't mess up my work at all.
Okay.
It's just a question of procedurally what would be the cleanest way. It seems like the cleanest way would be for you to warn the public hearing again for next month, and I just send out another warning, and
Okay.
then we put it on the agenda.
Yep.
Unless there's something, a bridge that we could do based on our council,
Well,
on whether we continue it. So that's that's.
given what's been happening in the last few months, I would actually recommend that you just set a new public hearing for next time.
That's right.
Yeah, when I reached out to you earlier today, I hadn't even thought of that.
Yeah.
But I am surprised by the lack of focus on this item, given how important it has been, so I do wonder if the agenda
Especially that,
wasn't
right.
clear. Yeah, so I'd be happy to set a new public hearing for this.
Okay.
Okay.
I guess my only thought is, we do have Revy here, and if you, to the extent that you had time to review the changes and then the Q&A that I only just sent out.
Yeah.
It was a little bit earlier, but available earlier, but I wasn't, so. Yeah, you could ask questions as part of that agenda item, just not adopt the changes yet.
Pretty well.
Can I ask a clarifying question?
Please do.
What's the next soonest date?
Looks like July 13th.
Is that, so it'd be a month, just about?
Yeah, I need at least 15 days for the
Okay.
warning, so
Okay.
I would have to send out the warning today. It would be published on the 24th, so that would mean that the 13th
Okay.
would be your next earliest date.
Right.
Right, the 6th would be too soon.
Ye-
Like, you have a short meeting then, you could
Yes.
opt to lengthen it,
The
but it
6th would
wouldn't
be
be
too
long
soon.
enough,
It would be
yes.
too soon.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so our next meeting in July is the 20th?
13th.
13th,
That was the 13th.
It's
Just
15th.
back to
Special
the-
meeting.
yeah.
Isn't it the 15th? No, you're right, it's the 15th, it's the 13th.
Okay.
I was looking at you.
That's what I have on my calendar, could be wrong.
That's what I see
Everyone
on the
else is
calendar
correct.
too.
We have a
It's
city council
13th.
meeting on July
so-
13th.
July 13th. Do you want to set the 15th? You don't have one at all?
Too many calendars.
I'm glad we had this conversation. Okay, so, in that case,
I think before you rewarn it, with the questions that were given to me,
yeah,
there was one question raised about additional amendments that you'd like to include that
Yeah.
that did not include.
yeah,
So I want to double check that you want that amendment included, and if you do want that amendment included, then I would amend your warning to include section 6.12 regarding certificates of occupancy / compliance.
sorry, you said that was 6.12?
Yeah, this is in regards to the question and the comments raised about residential building energy standard certificates and commercial building energy standard certificates.
Okay, all right, so I will look for a motion to re-warn the public hearing that had been warned for today for July 13th, including the language of the current warning and expanding it to include section 6.12.
So moved. Seconded?
Wait, Eli?
Can I ask a quick question? Is that, we're just gonna warn it, we're gonna discuss any more of the topic today, or are we just going to postpone that topic? I had a few
So,
questions about it, but
We
didn't know that.
We can talk more about I don't know if everybody had time to read what Elaine had sent earlier.
Yeah.
So if we can talk about that stuff now if we'd like, and ask further questions, or we can just move everything to later and talk about it later as well.
All I have is one question, so.
Okay. Elaine, does it make more sense to talk about those questions before warning the public hearing or after the public? Or does it matter?
You mean tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
I
Okay.
think it might, I don't know what your question is, but it might be better to talk about it before the public hearing, so that way, before the warning,
Oh,
so that
that's
way I
true.
know if there's any changes
Okay.
to sections.
Okay, so in that case, I am going to move to our next item, which will no longer be an approval, but will just be a discussion of the amendments to the ULUDR. Let's have that discussion. Eli,
Okay.
question?
Yeah, so it was one in the response email. We briefly discussed last time how for all of the surrounding municipalities as well as for our, I'll blank on the term right now, but the gateway districts, we use form-based code we use it 15 feet blank space per floor,
Mm-hmm.
and we're proposing it by an area, and
Yeah.
that's pretty unique.
Yeah.
And I didn't know, and I was hoping there would be more discussion on the planning side for that topic of why it's area versus floor per floor. That was most of my question, and I was trying to figure out a little more details on their thought process.
Yeah, I reached out to the planners in Burlington, South Burlington, and Williston about this, because they all do it by floor. I was specifically curious about Burlington's planner because he used to work for Raleigh and did the blank wall area for Raleigh, so I was curious about the perspective. I didn't hear back from them, and we're now entering into vacation time, so I'm curious if I'll get a response from them. So, yeah, I couldn't figure out which one was better, but yeah, it's more common to regulate by floor instead of by area. Planning Commission is keen about regulating it by area instead of floor for the residential districts. And I think the only other comment that I received about this from a local developer was just clarification on what that really meant and having some sort of graphic and the definition, so that way they understood that we're talking about a two-dimensional plane that's on a side of a building that is 15 by 15. And that's about it.
Okay. Yeah, but the reason I bring it up is because we discussed briefly last time, we would like to have as simple but also necessary, of all the things we want to make sure we include. So yeah, it just seems odd to have one areas of the city have per floor and the other, we have transparency based off per floor. Why not include it as a consistency across the whole entire city of having everything based off per floor?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a lot easier that way because, I mean, it's the same people who are going to be applying on both sides potentially, or for anybody reading the code, you don't want to face these types of hurdles and pitfalls that we're reading it one way in one part and another way in another part. Consistency is improves the legibility in the long term, right? And I don't see much of a difference in terms of the regulating by floor versus regulating by plane. I think the regulation by floor, it allows for a certain amount of flexibility with probably like building code requirements. That way you have your windows in alignment and then you have your hallways in alignment in some way, shape, or form. By having it by area, you lose that potentially. So that's really the only aspect that I see. And that's really it. I think I'll defer to you on which one you prefer to see. I recommended doing it by floor just because we have it by floor already and everybody else does it by floor. But this planning commission was keen about doing it by area too, because they saw that not doing it by area would create blank walls that are unintentional that stack up.
Do you happen to know what planning commission meeting that was discussed? So I can maybe review the minutes or the. I know it's kind of a long shot.
Plenty.
For a planning commission,
Okay. Early of the year. It's getting, or is it what you last year?
I can just look.
Although they've been meeting twice.
I remember things by date, by how many meetings, not by dates.
Yeah, I
I'm
might need
pretty sure it
to.
was four.
No worries.
I can send you like the links to the minutes once
Yeah,
I
I saw-
find them.
Is there another planning commission meeting before the next warning of the?
They're planning to meet on Wednesday.
Okay, maybe I'll just drop in and ask the question and then discuss. It'd
Sure.
be easier to do it that way.
March 26th would be my guess. But
So Wednesday, you said?
Hmm?
Wednesday?
Yeah, Wednesday.
Perfect. Thank you.
Eli, do you want us to discuss if we should ask Robbie to change that language or leave it?
What would other folks think? I don't know. This is new to me, so I don't know how we usually go about discussing things like this.
Well, if I can add a thought. So it relates to a question that I had about allowing ADUs in industrial. So it's a residential use, but in a non-residential setting, but we wouldn't require like the blank wall per floor on an ADU and an industrial. So it's incongruent and it creates inconsistencies across the city when the use is still residential in nature, while the zone may not be residential in nature. So I do think putting more thought into it is worthwhile.
Question.
Appreciate it. Yeah, go ahead.
Are ADUs allowed per state statute?
Yeah, so ADUs are allowed per state statute to any single unit dwelling, and that's why there's that blanket allowance for all the districts.
Okay.
But there are no single unit dwellings in the industrial, public, C2 districts. Yeah. So I think if you're not to allow for ADUs in those districts, I think it should be fine because there are no single unit houses
Yeah.
in those districts. The gap that I saw were single unit houses in the C1 and the gateway districts. So I think that's one way to circumvent it, I see.
Any other comments?
I mean, I could go on that particular topic, but I will leave it at that since we already know it's gonna be a long meeting.
May not be that long.
So if the council wanted to change that, then that might require another meeting, right?
Not
Is it minor?
necessarily, because I think it's within scope and it's still within the purpose. The way that I see it is that if we're going outside the purpose, we're adding new sections, then that would require a new public hearing. And that's why it makes sense to include the CO changes and into the new public hearing because we're adding a new section that wasn't previously discussed ever. But I think that with the blank wall element, I see that as within scope and within the purpose. So it's not, I don't see it as too substantial of a change that's outside of the purpose that's been put forth in the bylaw report that's in your packets.
Any other comments? Like council, anything else in the document?
I'm just trying to quickly digest the response to questions. I think I was also confused that the PDF had the same documents.
That's my mistake.
It's okay, it's all good.
Okay.
I think knowing that now, because I only read the first half, but it sounds like the second half was the portion that I was supposed to be reading, so having more time will be very helpful, actually.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think often with, I'm sorry, do you
No,
mind if I
no,
comment?
go ahead.
I think often with these fairly technical documents, council shouldn't feel otherwise rushed to adopt them really quickly. Like, it's better to understand what you're adopting, so.
And I agree. It's a laundry list. There are a lot of amendments in this packet.
I just have a personal note, right? When was the Wednesday meeting added? Because I didn't get an invite to that, and I definitely don't think I was there when that must have been set.
So
Quite.
I think it was a meeting that I attended for you.
It was discussed, yeah. So,
Okay.
so Bryn was there. It was discussed in mid-May
Okay.
For rescheduling because of the conflict for the comprehensive plan open house for the land use section at the end of May.
All right. Not ideal, as it's Juneteenth in Winooski, so kind of don't love that, to be honest. But it is what it is. Okay, let's warn our public hearing. So, I'd move to warn a public hearing for July 13th, including, the text that was included for tonight's public hearing and adding to that section 6.12.
So moved.
All right, we will move on to our next item, memorandum of understanding with EastRise Credit Union for the Housing Trust Fund programs. Can we get some air in here? I'm having a real hard time with that smell.
Yes.
It's like turning my stomach.
Yes.
I'm not focusing very
Very
well.
much so.
Yeah, it's very,
Distracting.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's take a break and then opening up some windows and doors.
Okay.
It is 6:45. We will come back at 6:50.
I get a little loud.
I'm so glad you said that.
I was,
That battery is dead, so.
Is that really emergency exit only, or can we cut that?
I think it is. I was.
It will alarm?
I don't remember.
Sorry, I was a little like.
Oh, you broke two of them too?
Are y'all breaking things?
excited for you. I'm excited for us. Yeah, but is it gonna bother you?
No.
I kind of like the smell.
Also just propped open the door.
That has a wooden.
Can I ask you a procedural question?
That's not my chair. See it? I'm thrown off. Yeah.
Procedural question. How do those topics work in the past? Like, if there is a slight amendment
Yeah.
that would be proposing,
Yeah, so you would just propose to change it and ask us if we agree. Yeah.
okay.
Thank you so much.
yeah.
Oh, there's the light right. I'm gonna go to the restroom as well.
Is that the one you're fixing?
Gosh. Tomorrow before noon.
Are they fixing that one?
Incredible and also very painful. Yeah, I could come after 10:30, so.
It's better in here already.
Good.
After trying to fix it like 6 months ago.
It smells worse.
No, because, you know, when you walk, go out in the hall and walk in, it's like,
Yeah.
it's dissipated in here.
Okay,
It
good.
is, by about 10, 20.
I'm always cold in here, so
Yeah.
it doesn't work.
Yeah, I think it was just the battery.
Mama, check your batteries.
Problem is, it doesn't like rechargeables, and we don't have a lot of single-use ones, so then I always forget, or single-use.
Do you want me to drop some off?
I just went to Costco, I think we have some too.
No, that's not appropriate for you. Spend your own money on.
I can reimburse.
This is where it's like, sometimes I'm like, I'm not meant for city government, because I'm like, y'all, we have everything we need, and we take care of each other. It's a battery. But sure.
Alright, that's nice.
I think the windows open line is made a decent amount of difference
Yeah.
already, so if you can't figure it out, I think that's fine. Thank you for trying. Okay. Everybody ready? Come
Yep.
back early. All right, we will come back from our break just 2 minutes early, and we will continue with the memorandum. Oh,
We just unmuted.
that's okay.
Paul muted me, I didn't know that.
No worries. We are back from our break. Thank you. We will continue with the memorandum of understanding with EastRise Credit Union for Housing Trust Fund programs. Jasmine.
All right. Well, Angela and I are finally returning with the hopefully final memorandum of understanding between the city and EastRise Credit Union for them to be able to offer our down payment assistance and interest rate buy-down programs. Again, all of this has been discussed primarily on the March 9th meeting, which was linked in the cover sheet. Shout out Kathy for the legal language. Yeah, it's fairly straightforward, nothing new, but happy to answer any questions.
Well, Jasmine, thank you so much for this. Kathy, thank you as well. I know you've been working on this for a long time and are probably very eager to be at this point. I think maybe less of a question, but just a reaffirming of kind of what I think you've already told us, but just for the public to know again. I think we created this program, very much wanting to help members of the community that frequently couldn't find that type of assistance at regular banking institutions, and I think people have always appreciated that it kind of felt in-house and that the people would understand them in their situations a little more because they were dealing with Winooski and not dealing with a bigger bank. If you just want to talk about, that or I don't want to put words in your mouth, but to what I understand is you've decided to go with EastRise because you believe that they share similar values to the city.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they are a credit union also at the end of the day. I would say there's only one person that ever got a down payment assistance, so no one's done the interest rate buy down through Green Mountain. And I think that they did sell prior to me working here, so it was before 5 years. So I would say there's not a lot of data supporting people's experiences with Green Mountain. You probably have more experience from the business, loans. But yeah, I would say the majority of mortgages held in the city, especially new mortgages, are through EastRise. I talked to Jenny and asked who she thought would be, not necessarily the biggest, but the most widely utilized in the city. They've been great to work with. I feel like they are very community oriented, even though they are a larger institution, but I think that's still why Vermonters, predominantly specifically people in Winooski, are still using them, because even though they are scaled larger than Green Mountain Credit Union, they still are have that kind of Vermont value. They've been lovely to work with. We did try with a different larger regional bank and did not have the same experience. So it speaks more to our experience with EastRise.
And in case people in the public don't understand why Jasmine was consulting Jenny, it's because as the city clerk, she sees recorded deeds and mortgages. So she's a good source of information for what's commonly seen in financing for housing.
Great, thank you. Thank you both for sharing that. Council, any questions?
Just a comment. I'm happy to see the financing options expand. I also think that EastRise, from personal experience, has great customer service. So it's, I feel like it will be the strength to the program, and I hopefully will see some increase in utilization. It certainly can't hurt. So
yeah, it's a tool. At the end of the day, it's a tool in their bucket theoretically to help. Because when people are shopping around, $5,000 to $10,000 can make a big difference.
Absolutely.
But the intention is to also expand to other banks. So.
All right. In that case, I will seek a motion to approve the city manager to execute the memorandum of understanding with EastRise Credit Union as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Woohoo!
Jasmine, Angela, congratulations.
Exactly. Every leadership team meeting. EastRise? No, we're still waiting on them. EastRise? No, they needed another change. EastRise?
They have 10 people that are.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Part of the engagement, yeah. No shade on EastRise.
Yeah.
I appreciate the partnership.
Angela, you're not going too far. Jasmine, you're not going too far. Discussion approval, cap on non-owner occupied short-term rentals.
Yes. Okay. So in 2024, City Council approved changes to Chapter 17, Public Building Registry, to add a short-term rental registry. Part of that was the language allowed City Council to add a cap on the total amount of non-owner occupied short-term rental licenses that were able to be issued each fiscal year. which is July 1st through June 30. And in 2025, after we collected a bit of data, council voted to establish that cap at 50 non-owner occupied short-term rental licenses annually. We did get pretty close. I think we got to 49 at one point in 2025, but have since dropped down quite a bit. We saw, we saw about 14 units convert back to long-term rentals. A few were sold. I think the transitory nature of like units as a real estate asset is more commonly moving in the short-term rental market than like the traditional home ownership. So things are kind of always changing. I was just approached today about someone selling a short-term rental to another person, and it's interesting. But right now we're sitting at about 45 for non-owner occupied licenses. I haven't seen a tremendous uptick at all. I spoke on a panel a few weeks ago, and it seemed like other communities, even more like tourism-oriented ones like Manchester and Chester, they were seeing similar kind of downtick in short-term rental activity generally. So my recommendation to the Housing Commission was to leave the cap at 50, since we are kind of already seeing the trends go in the way that we were hoping that they would, and since we have seen like a decent amount of conversion back into long-term rentals, which was also kind of a hope that we had. The Housing Commission also went along with the 50 unit cap as the recommendation, which would, essentially be keeping it the same. I will say if the cap was lowered to 45, for example, there's just an increased possibility of operational and logistical and I would say social burden on specifically the clerk's office. Because in the event that we hit the cap, if more people are applying, then they would have, I would assist, but run a wait list and then, figure out. We do have all of the policy and procedure written, but it is ultimately difficult to tell someone that they can't do something, especially if they've made a large financial business decision to do it. Obviously, that happens a lot in government. I'm not saying it's not impossible, but I would say since we're seeing the trends go in the way that we are already hoping for, and I think even with the hotel coming, we could see those numbers drop even more. That I'm not sure taking an aggressive stance in lowering the cap essentially to where we are already is necessary.
Thank you. I mean, we discussed the 50 number quite in depth when we were first proposing these new regulations. So I appreciate the research that you've done and to recommend that we stay at 50. And I definitely approve of doing that. Council, any questions? Yeah.
I know I wasn't involved when the initial cap was discussed, but I thought it was odd that we had a cap and not just cost more for a person to have a short-term rental.
Yeah.
Because in that case, luckily we haven't hit the cap, but I imagine it sounds like if we ever did, it would be a logistical nightmare and a little bit of a stressor. So I don't know if in the future it'd be worthwhile to discuss changing it to not a cap, but an actual higher rate if they start expanding and getting larger in numbers.
Yeah, so I think that, you can go if you want.
Yeah, and I appreciate. I think you probably watched many of those meetings, but you weren't sitting at the table. I think the reason that we did want to have the cap is an acknowledgement that there are some folks who own Airbnbs or Verbos, whatever they may be, who, I mean, obviously we could set like $1 million or whatever, but like no matter what we set as kind of a fee, that is their business, so they could buy up get 12 homes and turn them into Airbnbs, and we hit them with a $10,000 fee per property, they'd still do it, because like they are making millions of dollars a year across the country on Airbnbs kind of thing. So we have the regulations where people are paying more for their non-owner occupied for the license. But then that's why we wanted the cap as well, because we're like, we also don't want, like, we want to make money from this, but we also don't want it to be like, oh, this is how we're going to make some money. We'll just keep letting these things happen. So that had been our thinking. I think when we first discussed it, and again, this was a bunch of different people, but we had hoped that we'd actually start bringing that number down, which is why I think Jazz had referenced talking about if she did recommend to bring it down to 40 or 45, the work that the clerk's office would have. But essentially, kind of our hope was we'd implement these new regulations and people wouldn't want to operate their Airbnbs, and we'd see less and less, and then we'd just keep adjusting that cap down until we got to wherever it was that we were hoping to get down to. But the initial kind of conversations were that we didn't want Airbnbs, so that's where the cap came from.
Yeah, I would say it's a more moderate approach to what South Burlington and Burlington have done, which is essentially, Burlington's is a little bit more extreme than South Burlington's, but it's essentially like a full ban on non-owner occupied short-term rentals. We didn't feel that we had the staff capacity to do anything of that level, and they have had a lot of trouble with compliance because, as I said, it's hard to tell someone that they can't do something, and they have had a pending lawsuit for a few years. This, I will say, the cap is completely feasible. Like, we can do that. It is possible. It is just like additional burden, not on me. And so this was kind of viewed as a way to hamper some of that growth, because I would say from 2023 to 2020, it was maybe 2022 to 2024, Airbnbs skyrocketed. In Winooski, it was never like a tremendously high number, but I think it went from I'm trying to remember, 30 to 90 or something. So it was more the pace of the growth that was concerning. And I think council felt strongly that they wanted to have something that would cap that at least, so that it wasn't like, well, what will it be next year? 180, So the cap is there for that reason. It was kind of a more moderate approach, I would say, than doing a full ban on non-owner occupied.
Yeah, and I think building on what the mayor was talking about is essentially trying to keep private equity out of housing markets. So having that cap is also a way to manage and mitigate the what could kind of be a runaway economy of short-term rentals. The other thing that, we didn't want to outright ban it, because, we do have a new hotel opening, the pricing structures for that will be on the higher end, so it won't necessarily be accessible. So having options, and then, not wanting to prevent, there were a number of these already in place. The enforcement would have been very challenging to ban them. But also just we live in a state where it's cost of living is high, and having additional means of income is beneficial to our community. So kind of striking the balance, I think, was part of the conversation.
The only reason why I bring it up is because there is always lots of discussion about how property taxes are a main revenue source, and how property taxes, residents always want a different mode for revenue other than property taxes. So people want to expand businesses, so they have more local tax options to raise revenue. So this option allows you to disincentivize as much as you would like, but it also allows you to raise revenue in another means that is then taxing another entity that is not a resident in most cases.
Do you know off the top of your head how much we've raised with the fees, the licensing fee?
130K in 2 years,
It's not bad.
which Angela how far is that off from what you would imagine meals and rooms to be?
I honestly have no frame of reference
That would
for
be,
that.
that would be crazy to pull that out, but
We literally can't.
it was
State
worth
won't
a
tell us
shot.
that
That,
number.
yeah, that would be really like the difference, I think.
What is the current, sorry guys, what is the current cost for a license?
$1,400 annually
For non-owner occupied.
for non-owner, yeah. So the owner occupied are not capped, and people have to meet the homestead declaration definition by the state, so they have to be in the house at least 50% of the year to qualify as owner occupied. So those are more like, you know, snowbirds who are renting their primary occupancy in different seasons, or people who have an ADU in their yard that they're short-term renting, or like a basement unit. So none of those count at all. It's only ones where it's generally a secondary property that's owned.
Or a third or a fourth
Yes.
property in some cases.
Yeah,
We
or
do
a
have
multi-unit building with
Yeah.
10 units that are, yeah.
And do we have a sense, Angela or Jasmine, for how much code enforcement labor hours go into ensuring compliance with those
They
40 plus?
are already supposed to be doing that anyways, because they're all public buildings. So I mean, I would say it does add a little bit of work, but it's more just because the short-term rental program acts as an, sorry, I have something in my eye, acts as an audit of the larger public building registry. So all of the short-term rentals are already should have been getting inspected quarterly and have active COFs if people are, you know, in them regardless of the duration. So, you know, I mean, there was a lot that did not have COFs. There was a lot that were also not up to date on many of their payments. I will say we only have one that is out of compliance, and I think that they will be paying shortly, so that we might hit 100% compliance right before the New Year's.
They did just receive that bill last week.
Yes. So, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it is additional but it's really like additional work that should already have been happening.
Yeah. So
That's one with,
I was just gonna say, but as a follow-up, STRs were not formally treated as public housing.
They were.
And commercial before we implemented.
They were always public buildings.
This, I thought my impression was the adoption of the STR requirements was formalizing that structure. It's like they were supposed to, but whether or not that was actually happening.
Yes, yeah, so that's why I said it was like an audit. It should have already been happening, but it was like a very close eye of like, you have to do these things in order to be able to rent it as a short-term rental. So that was also like a very good motivator for property owners that had been negligent, whether financially or on the code side for many years, some of them.
essentially gave us a stick we didn't have before. So they were already supposed to be compliant.
Yeah, you know, one thing that I'm very proud about this, this rulings that we put in is, and I'm not surprised that Jasmine was talking on the panel, but I hear from members of select boards across the state who are trying to replicate what we did with our STR model as opposed to what Burlington or South Burlington did. I've heard Stowe approach me recently. Essex has had conversations with me about this. I point them just all to the work that Jasmine did at our behest, and it's, you know, it's probably not perfect. There's nothing that's perfect, but the fact that some cities and towns with much higher resources than we have are looking to what we did here continues to just make me glad of what we decided to do and what Jasmine helped make a reality.
I was the only one from Chittenden County on the panel, so you could say I was a bit of a black sheep.
Interesting.
It's like Manchester, Chester.
Yeah.
It's like we have different goals, I think.
Interesting. Yeah. Any other questions? No? Okay. In that case, I will seek a motion to approve the cap on non-owner occupied short-term rentals.
So moved. Seconded.
As
Oh.
presented.
As presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Wonderful. Thank you, Jasmine.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jasmine.
Before we move into this item, I know that the executive is warned after, but I think we should talk about if we want to have it before we move into it. And then also, would councilors want an executive that is just us plus the city manager and our lawyer, or would they like to go straight into an executive with the folks who are involved in this discussion that we're talking about? I don't know where you all are feeling, and Elaine has something to add.
Yes, as it happens, Doug is about 10 minutes out, so
Okay.
you could start with us and
Yeah.
bring him in, then
Yeah.
have him go back out, however you want to do it.
I would propose to move executive first.
Yeah, no, that's, I want to know what you all want to do.
I think I would prefer to have a conversation exclusively with city staff and council and.
And our
if-
lawyer?
Yes, and our,
Okay.
and, yes,
I just
sorry.
want to make
To
sure,
be,
because
to be
there's
explicit,
all
yes,
sorts of
and our,
conversations we could
yes,
have.
yes, thank you for clarifying, yes, and our legal counsel. I think prior to our discussion works for me.
Okay. In that case, Elaine, Angela, or just you?
Angela too, she's really honestly the person who did the most
Okay.
work on this for the city, so.
And then for entering in without Doug, which of these mornings should I best use? I guess they're all 313. Okay.
Yeah, you have to do all of them, the only difference is that you wouldn't invite him.
Yeah, okay. So, to find that premature general public knowledge would clearly place the public body or a person involved at a substantial disadvantage per 1 VSA 3131. To enter into executive session pursuant 1 VSA 313 contracts relating to parking management agreement within any entity for Abenaki Garage, I would like to invite Elaine Wong, our city manager, Andrew Aldirai, our finance director, Joan Rauscher, our public works director, our lawyer, Kathy Zoe, and city council into this executive session. During the executive session, council will not be taking any action, i.e. making any decisions. We'll just be having a conversation with city staff and our lawyer. I'll seek a motion for that executive session to begin.
So moved, seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Wonderful. The time is 7:12. We're entering into this executive session, and again, we'll make no decision during that time. All right, the time is 8:01. We are out of our executive session. As I had said, we did not make any votes in our executive session and just discussed topics with our city manager, staff, and our lawyer. The time is 8:02. I'm going to call a 5-minute recess for a break. We'll be back at 8:07. And then at that time, we will enter into another executive session. Thank you. We needed the bathroom break. I'm sorry.
I beat you to it before when I was waiting.
Who brought this? I missed this. Who brought the food?
Oh, yeah.
Because I said it was gonna write me in.
How did I not, when I was like shoveling salad into my,
Because we have another executive after this.
Yeah. Oh, it says I think we're on track for like 9:30, 9?
Maybe,
Yeah,
yeah.
not the latest.
Yeah.
but- Yeah.
No, not the,
oh.
the
No,
first
but
part actually went faster than I expected.
same.
Yeah, well, because we didn't actually agree to anything.
Oh my god. I just,
And we'll turn that-
yeah.
No, you can grab it.
Oh,
You keep your chocolate.
sorry. I just like, I'm in bed by 9:30, so. I also didn't bring my lights for my bike, so I gotta walk
Well, you
home.
could be up till 2 AM looking over packing materials and sending comments early.
Can't wait.
My bedtime is 3 minutes ago.
I love it. Doug, where do you live?
I'm fine.
I live in
We'll
Colchester.
see about
Oh,
tomorrow.
where?
I live off exit 17 off of
Okay.
Brickyard Road,
Okay.
up pretty close to Milton.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I love this. Okay, so I hear that you're shooting for July 1.
For
The hotel?
Yeah, no, for the hotels, we're looking to open in September, but we have a tour, not this Friday, but next Friday.
For the housing.
For the housing,
Yeah.
but we're gonna scoot down to the hotel and take another look through there.
Okay, I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's gonna be really beautiful.
I'm so excited.
You know what I'm also excited about, though, starting it, is this wooden boardwalk that we're building to the park. I think it's really going to transform the activity in that park.
I can't wait.
Yeah, yeah.
What?
I bet it wasn't
I'm about to go back in for a second.
Oh,
Motherfucker.
what?
I don't think we've ever had that discussion. I honestly don't think I've ever seen children back there. I've seen people
I was
walking their
walking the
dogs.
perimeter during the executive session, and there's just a dead drop to the railroad tracks in the back.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Big advance for us, Steve. I love it.
Yep. Yes, there is.
Somebody uses
As it turns out.
for a mattress as well.
Yeah, that probably.
Oh, happened.
It wouldn't be the first time some weird things saw over there.
Doug said it in front of us. Did I tell you guys what time we had scheduled the workforce housing?
Yes,
tool?
you
Okay.
did.
I'd like to leave a little bit of time so we can scoot to the hotel and give you another update there if there's time. If council has time, I'd like to do that.
Oh my God, I want
Sure.
swim in this chocolate.
Oh, Cadbury.
Oh my God.
All right, the time is 8:06. We are back from our break. We are now going to propose we enter into an executive session to find that premature general public knowledge would clearly place the public body or person involved at a substantial disadvantage per 1 VSA 3131 to enter into executive session pursuant to 1 VSA 313 contracts relating to a parking management agreement with a NETI entity for Abenaki Garage. I'd like to invite Elaine Wong, our city manager, Angela ULUDR, our finance director, Kathy Zoe, our lawyer, and Doug Nettie. Do I have a motion to enter into this executive session?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We will now enter into an executive session. We will not take any action during this, i.e. we won't be making any decisions. We will come out of executive session to make any decisions that we need to make. All right, the time is 8:33. We have exited executive session. We did not make any decisions in executive session. We just had a conversation with Doug Nettie and with our staff. We'll now move on to our next item of our regular items, parking management agreement for Abenaki Garage. Elaine. Angela.
So before you is a proposed operations management agreement with NETI for the Abenaki Garage. We are about ready to start operations in that facility. And a few months ago, we started discussions about the management of the facility, particularly around the hotel guests, because they are an exception to how we conventionally manage our parking contracts. And as a proposed solution and being able to provide a higher level of service, Doug offered a potential solution through managing. It would allow his hotel guests to come and park without having to access a kiosk and enter in their license plates. But all of the other contracts that are in existence in that garage, including CCV, Digest, and the housing, would be able to function as normal. In exchange for providing the service to manage that garage, including ticketing for non-payment, Doug would retain the transient parking fees associated with that facility.
Angela, thank you very much. I understand this agreement is something that city staff and Doug and his team have worked on extensively. Our lawyer is present today, who has poured many hours, I'm sure, over this document that we've been working on and looking at. And I understand this for all intents and purposes, for this to be a way for Doug to provide through his hotel a seamless and enjoyable experience for the folks that are going to be coming to visit our city and our region. So I completely understand your ask of this. We've had discussions on this, but Doug, if there's anything you'd like to share with the public in this forum, I'd love for you to do that now, just so that folks can understand a little more of what is coming their way.
Sure. In terms of the hotel, Mayor?
Maybe more just the parking and what
Okay.
why you're making this ask. If you have
Sure.
any big update about the hotel, feel
Yeah.
free to share that too.
What's very important to us, really the most important to us for the success of the hotel is the guest experience. And, we're projecting over 30,000 guests to come through the Sugar House Hotel on an annual basis. And, the arrival, the sense of arrival, the ease of arrival, the ease of departure is always important in the guest experience. And we think if we manage the hotel and kind of help mitigate any stresses and make it seamless for our guests, I think it's going to be very important. So that's why we're undertaking this task of managing the garage, which nobody really wants to do. But it's kind of something we feel that we should do to make it a great experience for our guests and any visitor to the city.
So, Council, do you have any questions? Additional comments? Okay. In that case, I will seek a motion to approve the agreement with the changes that were discussed.
So moved. Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody abstaining or voting no?
Abstain.
All right, thank you very much. Doug, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doug.
Thanks. See you next Friday.
That's right. Thank you. All right.
Thank you for your time. Nice job.
Our next item is a discussion approval resolution to establish parking rates for metered parking. Angela.
It's a related item to the operations management agreement. The Abenaki garage is coming online, so now we need to integrate that into our rate structures. The proposed rate for the Abenaki garage is $2 an hour with a max daily rate of $10. That is comparable to our Cascades garage in that you pay for at most 5 hours of time, but the rate is based off of the rate in Burlington due to the proximity of the hotel. We have confirmed with Doug that he does not have any concerns with the fact that our Cascades garage and the on-street parking would be less expensive. But that was where we had agreed.
I think I'm fine with the agreement. If Doug would like to charge more, it may lead folks to come into our cheaper parking. So I'm okay with that. Councilors, do you have any questions?
None. I have a question.
Yes.
Do we know how many units in the new housing being built that are considered income adjusted?
They're income adjusted. It's, the only thing I've ever heard to it referred as is all workforce housing.
That can be considered market rate then?
Not exactly, it's supposed to be, I think, 80 to 120% AMI,
Okay.
average medium income.
Okay, thank you.
That's fine. All right, I will seek a motion to approve the resolution establishing parking rates for metered parking for the city.
So moved. Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
No.
One no. All right. Our next item, resolution to update parking enforcement holidays. Angela.
Again, this is to incorporate the Abenaki garage into our existing parking resolutions. There was a request that they be able to charge on holidays. We have no objection to that. If somebody wants to not pay for parking, they can park on street or in the Cascades garage.
I agree. Folks can navigate to a free parking space pretty easily. That will also be a little closer to businesses too. So I have no problems here. Council, any questions?
I'm curious about, thinking about our equity assessment and, those that might have mobility challenges or holidays that tend to fall during adverse weather and just having to pay because of the convenience of needing to be closer to home.
So the housing doesn't pay the public rate, so they have their contracted rate.
Okay.
So they should not be paying for parking. That should be included in their housing.
Okay,
It would be the transient parkers that this would apply to.
great. Thank you for confirming.
Any other questions? Okay, then I will seek a motion to approve the resolution as presented.
So moved?
Seconded?
All those in favor?
Aye.
No?
All right, we are done with parking. Commission working session, external appointments. So we discussed at our meeting on April 27th, our big commission meeting, we came up with a variety of different topics that we would like to talk about in the future in terms of commissions. I noted during the Deputy Mayor and Councillor Ogilvy's presentations of what they talked about in commission, that you were having further problems with not having things to discuss in your commissions. So this is timely to be discussing right now. We have some more memos that the Deputy Mayor and I are working on to continue this conversation, but this first one that I wanted to bring to us is the external appointments, because I think that it is somewhat straightforward, but definitely up for discussion. And this isn't something that will necessarily, actually I don't think this at all will increase attendance or conversation topics, but I do think is something that is very important for us to address before we start going into further trying to tackle those two problems. So essentially, as you all know, we have commissions, boards, committees that either seek Winooski being a member of, or they have a commission that makes it so. The Airport Commission being a wonderful example where Councilor Turcos serves. What we have found through sometimes word of mouth is that we have representatives on some of these commissions and we may not be 100% aware that that's happening. So we wanted to come up with some sort of reporting mechanism and also accountability, because at the end of the day, and you may recall this from our conversation on the 27th, these people are representing the city. They've been appointed by council. We appointed them. The council that appointed them with the beliefs that that council likely holds. And we don't really know if that is being expressed when these people are on their commissions, right? Councilor Turcos, of course, you're a member of this body, so I believe when you go to airport, you're likely doing those things, but we have appointed people to commissions who aren't members of this body. That's generally actually what happens more often than not. So with Deputy Mayor's assistance, drafted this memo for you all with some proposals that I wanted to bring forth for us to consider tonight. I'll just read the bullets. The city manager or delegated city staff support the communication and reporting effort by tracking and provide reminders to streamline coordination and minimize disjointed execution of the reporting and presentation expectations outlined herein. Any council appointed representative serving on a board, commission, or committee that is not directly overseen, organized, or controlled by Winooski City oversight provide a written summary to City Council following each meeting they attend. The format should be similar to the city cover sheet template that is paired with council agenda items to ensure consistency between appointees and to capture a minimum degree of content. These reports would be submitted to the mayor and city manager and shall be included in the consent agenda for council review. In addition, no less than once Each year, the appointed representatives shall provide an update on the work, priorities, and activities of the board, commission, or committee on which they serve to city council. The appointees may invite the lead official from their group or organization to collaboratively brief council, or the appointee may join these lead officials during regularly scheduled presentations to council and share presentation or related materials to be included in the council agenda packet, no less than the Wednesday before the scheduled council meeting. And the appointee may utilize documents and share presentation materials with that group. Kind of goes on a little bit there. Those are the main points that I think we're suggesting here. Elaine did send me an email about this that I will try to pull up quickly so I can share what you had shared with me, Elaine. If I can find it. Where was it?
I have it if you want me to.
Yeah,
say
if
it.
you wanna.
So just for your awareness, the organizations to which this would apply would be Airport Commission, Chittenden County Regional Planning Commission, but just the commission itself, not the technical advisory committees, of which there are 3, and I point to those. Chittenden Solid Waste District, Green Mountain Transit, Town Meeting TV, and Winooski Valley Parks District. They actually all do this already, except for Airport Commission, and actually Al's setting that up for the first time. So the tricky one I thought might be the summaries after every meeting, unless they could just provide minutes, but then that's a lot for you to read. So just spitballing a thought was maybe quarterly that they do a written update. But that was I'm a little concerned that they might not do that if they have to generate something.
Appreciated that note. In this conversation, it's good to also note that there's an overriding ask from a member of the community and VLCT for Winooski to have somebody represented on their opioid settlement advisory committee. So that would be something that we would add to this list. The Winooski Bridge Replacement Advisory Board is something that you had found, Bren. I don't know if you found that there was someone that we have appointed to that.
I sit on that, but Paul does
Okay.
as well.
I don't know that council appoints that person, those people though.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't recall.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was like, who do you think would be good? And staff said these people might be good, and maybe council weighed in, but it wasn't like a formal council
Okay.
appointment.
Yeah, I think at the time, I was on airport and infrastructure, so it
No,
seemed
I just appreciate this
the
list you
two.
created.
It was literally the bridge between the two.
The other one I noted is Champlain Housing Trust. We have somebody, Winooski has a member there, but do we know how that member gets there?
I don't know that it's an official city representative, like they might be asking Winooski residents to
Yeah.
serve on it,
But we
but
don't
they've
have
never
an
approached
involvement there.
council for a formal
Okay,
council-appointed person, yeah.
okay, fair enough. All right, so this
And what about the Winooski Housing Authority?
That is,
mayor is the member there.
Okay,
that is the weirdest thing, but that is literally the case.
It's, yes.
Okay.
I
No,
mean-
you're not a member. The mayor
Sorry, not a
appoints
member, yes,
the board.
yeah,
That is the only relationship.
right.
And then apparently the city manager is supposed to approve their strategic plan.
Hmm.
It's a very weird relationship,
Yes, it is very strange.
yeah.
I have
And it's
found
unique
that,
to
and
housing authorities.
Christine told me that she also found it very strange. It's been very strange.
I don't really get it.
Okay, so that list plus the opioid settlement advisory committee person, if we decide to go that way. So let me find my memo again, because I have 8 million things pulled up. So I recognize that after each meeting could be a lot to provide a report to council. I'm not opposed to every quarter, I think you had suggested, Elaine. What do you, I mean, and this is, open for, maybe you don't think we need any reports, and share that with me now, but what do you think about the timing for reports on this? Yeah, Eli?
I think quarterly is great, but I also would, if they were able to say like, oh, we have a meeting coming up, because a lot of these don't happen regularly, and some of them are irregular times. Just having a heads up, like, oh, we will have a meeting about this in X, Y, and Z. Is that possible?
So a quarterly official report,
Yeah.
and then
A heads up when a meeting.
an unofficial email to the mayor and the city manager, all of council,
Something that would notify us.
just something that would notify.
Question. Are all of these commissions open to the public? Because then my thought would also be, if we're really trying to enhance civic engagement, then I would say, I don't know that it makes sense to send it to the mayor and the city manager, and I think that it should be like publicly posted somewhere, so like, they're posting it on Front Porch Forum, they're getting it out to their neighbors. We certainly, in city council, I think all of us are on, those channels, but I would say it's the idea that like, I like the idea of there being a reporting mechanism. I don't know, I don't hate the term idea of reporting, right, because like, we're not their bosses. But my question is like, what do we want to be different? And if in my opinion, the thing that I want to be different is I want more of our neighbors to be engaged in our community. And so to me, a report back to city council, it doesn't really do that. It like sits in 5 inboxes. But how do we get the word out to other neighbors and to other community members that CCRP exists, that Winooski Housing Authority exists, et cetera, et cetera? And so how can we get that word out there? How can these people be ambassadors to these commissions?
Yeah, the reporting, you're correct, it would just sit in our inboxes. That's just to answer the question of what are these people saying on our behalf. So less about, so that portion of this is actually, that has nothing to do about community engagement. But to your point, I don't hate the idea of someone posting on Front Porch Forum that there is an airport commission coming up. I know it's you, but I keep using that. But
Great.
I think they're all public bodies that in theory.
Yeah, Winooski Valley Parks District is, I think, a little more quasi. It's hard to find the meeting information.
Yeah, well, my only concern against that is we've been hearing from folks in the community that they feel like our postings about meetings don't have enough information in them. So then I wonder how much we'd be asking these people to try to post on Front Porch Forum ahead of time. Or would that then become a burden for them to do that? Like, is Winooski Valley Parks District, is the agenda easily enough for them to like post on Front Porch Forum, or is it just gonna create more of that?
I mean, this is a thing that I've been thinking about, and
Yeah.
we don't have to discuss this right now, right? But I've been thinking is that like before, like when the town clerk's office, city clerk's office posts the agenda, like I want to follow it up and make it more digestible for the community, right? Because links are there, and if you look at tonight's agenda, it's like very hard to understand why, like what it means, right? Like even the last executive session, like for the evaluation of a public officer or employee, right? It's just like that is the city manager's check-in, right? And so I think it's even one of those things where it's just like to have a city councilor, I'm more than happy to volunteer, to say like, these are the 6 things that we're talking about, you should come, these are, right? I think that just to make it more approachable, or whatever the word is, accessible, I think. And so you could have someone to basically say like tonight, like I would even be like, tonight at Airport Commission, I think of our last Airport Commission, we went through like 6 leases. And it was just like, we're gonna go through leases and talk about a lot of aprons and, and so I think to me, one of the things that I know that I have really appreciated about being on city council is having municipal government more accessible to me. It is very difficult to understand.
Yeah.
How then can we make it more inclusive and accessible to our community?
Right.
But if we just want to leave tonight and be like, a quarterly update is great, and then continue the conversation, then I think that's great too.
No,
but
I don't not like anything you're saying.
Yeah.
As we keep having this conversation, I'm like, okay, I want to put out more information. I also don't want to burden these like even more volunteers than we're volunteers. My thought would be have them do the quarterly report, have them send the update of when a meeting is coming up to the mayor. I'll leave the city manager out of it because there's already enough in your inbox. And then at our meetings during when we do our council updates, I would share this meeting is coming up, this meeting is coming up, fully recognizing that not everybody is watching our meeting at 6 o'clock, but it's a little more information for now. I love your idea about, and I know we're not talking about that tonight, but you brought it up, so I want to address it about explaining more about what's happening in the agenda on FPF. I don't want to operationalize something where an individual councillor is taking it on, because if you're not here, and then we've set up this system where somebody's running this through, and another councillor doesn't have the time availability that you are able to dedicate towards that, we've then, like, I think if we're oh my gosh, I can't speak. Creating an operation for something, ideally it would fall on staff, and I've heard from staff that they don't have that capacity right now to.
Right.
Because I think if we put it onto us, like, we're an elected body, we can literally be voted out or decide not to run. I think anything that we want consistent should, and Elaine, this is your staff, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like that would be a staff function, but staff at the moment doesn't have time for that function. But I like that idea. So I'd like for it to live somewhere in the ether for maybe one day when that.
Put it on the bike rack.
When that might be more available for and it would likely be our communications person, right? But Alan and Elaine, if you have any thoughts.
So I guess, and again, I want to acknowledge it's 9 p.m. We've been here for 3 hours and we still have things to go. So I'm going to say this, and then I'm fine with putting it on the bike rack or the parking lot. I guess when I'm feeling frustrated. I'm going to name my emotion. I'm feeling frustrated because I'm a member of this community. I love this community. When I walk out of this door, I acknowledge that, like, I am still a city councilor for sure, but I also am someone who, like, now knows how to, like, read and digest a agenda. And so I hear you, but I'm also like, I feel like Julia Roberts in Notting Hill. Like, I'm just a girl standing, I'm not a girl, I'm non-binary, but like, I'm just a person standing in front of a person asking them to love me. And it's like, I'm just a member of this community asking this, like, members of this community to make our civic engagement more accessible. And so I think it's right, it's like chicken or the egg. Like, our staff is overburdened for sure. When we were, I don't remember what we were talking about, right, but we were talking about burnout and all these things and not adding, and I'm for sure not saying that. But I'm also sort of like frustrated that there's like an opportunity for us to have people, maybe open a door to have people be more excited or understand or have more people walk in this room, but then it's not the answer because, you know, whatever. So I totally get it. Tonight is not the night. We have more things to do, but I'm just gonna name that, like, I just find that frustrating. Elsie, since you were saying.
I want to add a little bit more nuance to the idea of doing a quarterly check-in, but I like the idea of making it easier and removing barriers for these volunteers, that they can submit materials like from that organization. I don't want it to turn into just like a PowerPoint dump when people just like send along the materials from every meeting, because that just adds volume and more volume. So if we like move it down to quarterly and instead request like a paragraph at minimum of like a thoughtful summary of what work has been done for the quarter, rather than here's 3 months of materials, I think that is a better use of everyone's time.
Yeah, and I think that's where we trying to find the line here, but where we said that it should be similar to the city cover sheet.
Yep.
So, you know, I think we'd show them what that looked like, how long one generally is, and ask that they put their full quarterly update and not go over that page that we usually see. Because I mean, if we're adding more time, then there's obviously like a lot more they could talk about, and they've probably been shown PowerPoints and stuff, and I don't think that's necessarily what we need. We just want like a good idea of what is being said, and I think particularly what we want to know is like what advocacy they have done on the committee, commission, or board. Thanks for that. Any other thoughts on this morning piece? so I'm hearing, seeing approval of quarterly reports. What do we think about what Eli had suggested in terms of them notifying us? It seems like we've got two ideas right now, like emailing the mayor, having the mayor to say when those next meetings are coming, or having that person do a front porch forum post.
I think if they have capacity to do a post themselves, I think that's great. I'd say at a minimum, letting council know, letting the mayor know. You know, they can just shoot an email to the council@winooskivt.gov. It goes to all of us.
Yeah.
That hopefully is easy, or you know, I do think just being very conscientious of how this may feel like a significant lift. So we may want to say, like, this is a discussion council had. We want to get your feedback on this before we really finalize something, just since they'll be subject to whatever we decide.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, in that vein, it's worth noting that I don't think it was just Winooski Valley Parks District that came up for renewal recently, right?
One other one, but
The CC or whichever.
yes, that's right, yeah.
And the people who had served on that are going to be the people who will continue serving on it, so we will be asking them to change up a workflow that they never had before. So, point taken.
And actually, that reminds me that Airport Commission will need to be reappointed. Was that in tonight's consent item that we removed?
No.
I don't think so.
Okay, so we'll need to kick that off.
Yeah,
July.
it's like we did that at the beginning of the year.
We changed it so that it would extend to
that it
June,
would match
so
up
that
the
it
rest
would
of
match the
Got it.
other commissions.
Good memory.
I'll put it on the July 6th.
Yes, yeah.
Eli, Elsie, thoughts on that?
I like the idea. I like quarterly reports, and I like letting council know that there's an upcoming meeting.
And then if they have capacity to post on
Yep.
front of the forum, but not forcing them to do so.
Yep, that'd be wonderful.
Encouraging, yeah, and not limiting it to front porch forum. Yes, agreed.
Sure, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yeah.
They have capacity to post to other
Love that.
forms of community notification. That's a word. Okay. You know, Elaine, I don't know if when you sent us what the commissions was your answer to that first bullet of the city manager or delegated city staff supports this communication and reporting effort by tracking and providing reminders to streamline coordination and minimize disjointed execution of the reporting and presentation expectations outlined. I do believe you somewhat do that already through tracking and reminding me when somebody needs to be reappointed, but this is, I think, it formalizes that more, so I'd like to know your thoughts.
Well, back when I thought I was gonna have to remind them every month to put in their summary, it was more daunting. It is gonna add some work, but I think it's a good thing to do, so I'm supportive, and that's why I didn't voice any objections.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you didn't say anything about that, but it's
I appreciate you asking.
very much calls you out, so I wanna, or called your position out, so we very much wanna. Okay, so we then said once each year that they would come and do a report. Many of these organizations already do, but I think codifying it for the ones that haven't done it, so they will do it. It also kind of outlines, I think, what we're expecting here, in terms of that they can invite a lead official from their group or organization. It also kind of, I think, solidifies, for the case of like solid waste district, like obviously you're here when they present that, but one day you may not be here, or you may say, I don't want to do that anymore, and we appoint a member of the public. I don't see that happening. see when you retire from being a councilor, whenever that may be, that you'll likely want to serve on that board. But anyway, if that person wasn't you, or like if that person wasn't Al, or then
Yeah.
they would have to. It tells them that they should come when
Yes.
that organization does the
Agreed.
presentation.
And there were other commissioners appointed that were not city councilors before I took over the role, so
Right.
absolutely.
Councilors, any thoughts on that part, or are you in agreement? And I'll check in. Okay. I think those are the main parts.
I just want to ensure that your hopes for this structure have been met. I know you mentioned in
Bless
here
you.
having, there's like having the increased engagement, there's having some more awareness and transparency of agenda items. There's also the element of ensuring for any vote that may be taken, that they're reflecting the best interests of the city. Do you feel like this, the way it's structured,
Yeah.
meets that need, that expectations there?
Yeah, I mean, I think in that quarterly report, maybe one of the things that we should outline that they have to tell us about is any votes that have been taken. We could also encourage, well, have them let us know if any votes are coming up.
Okay.
I think would make sense. And to discuss that with the mayor. And then if I were to see something controversial, or whoever is the mayor were to see something controversial, should discuss that with council.
Okay.
How does that feel to other councilors?
Great. The only challenge I can think of is
Yeah.
we get our packet the Friday before the Monday.
Yeah.
CSWD gets our packet the Wednesday, Thursday before the night following Wednesday, so we have almost a full week. I don't know how these other external bodies operate. So there's not, depending on the entity, there may not be a significant amount of time between when the packet's received to know what
Yeah.
approval items are.
So, I don't know, we may need a lawyer for this. I'm gonna throw this out there, Elaine. My belief would be, so say somebody, not Al.
I love being in
Random person who is now serving on the airport commission says, the airport is voting on a new slogan, and it includes saying something abhorrent. This is what they want to vote for. I would feel, because it's not a council vote, that I could call you all individually, let you know what this person has let us know, and then I could say, my recommendation to this person is that they should not vote for that slogan because it says something abhorrent. If I was getting the gist that there was disagreement, I think we would have to talk about it at this table. But if I wasn't getting that, I could just provide that recommendation to this person. Obviously, we don't fully control them, so they can then vote however they want.
Yeah.
I don't know if that is because we're a legal body. I don't know if that meets muster, but
Yeah, it would be a little gray, but if whoever was the mayor was very careful to not represent council when making that recommendation, like you
Yeah.
could say, I strongly recommend,
yeah,
because I don't think our community would be in support of it, or
Yeah.
something like that, then you could be on the legal right side of the line,
yeah,
but it's a tricky thing I mean, I think you would remember, anyone who'd been in the seat for a bit would remember, but it's a little
Yeah.
tricky.
right,
It's going to be, it's hard.
right,
I don't think there's a perfect way to do it.
yeah. I mean, and frankly, a lot of the votes that these folks take aren't probably, I mean, some of them are consequential, but not you know, the organizations aren't actually asking these volunteer boards to make serious votes a lot of the time. But there are votes, and I think they should let us know what the ask is at the very least, and yeah, then I think it's up to the mayor to look at that vote and say, is this something that council needs to formally discuss before this person votes on it?
Yeah, and keep in mind, oh, sorry.
Or I was just gonna reiterate, or can I make a recommendation personally based on my relationship from being elected with the community and see where that goes?
Yeah, and I remember then, if you're putting in place this quarterly thing, there will be already more alignment than there is now.
Yeah.
So the chances of that happening feel like they might be
Yeah.
less.
Sorry. Okay. Council, any other thoughts on the memo or what we've discussed so far this evening? No?
I think it's something that, you know, we are so focused on our city commissions, and as we look to refine and improve that, it makes sense to look at everything cohesively and collectively, so I think it's a good idea.
Okay. I think then what my next steps are to amend this memo that we submitted to council with these items, and maybe we can put that in consent agenda for our next meeting. If you are seeing anything, I've typed something wild, we can pull it out of consent and amend during the meeting, but I think we're mostly aligned here. That makes sense to you, Brian?
Yeah, my only reservation is wanting to just talk to the non-council external appointees to give them
A heads up.
some notice that this is coming.
Okay, some of them are very bad at email, but I will make an effort to I will reach out to all of the ones that we have currently appointed, besides you and Al. And if I don't hear from them the Friday that I need to get the memo in, I'm probably just gonna type up the memo.
Okay.
Does that make?
Sorry, one last.
Yeah.
Would this be effective then at the next meeting, or is there a start date? Like, are we gonna expect people to start turning in agendas?
That's that's a good question. Let's discuss that. Because we have just recently appointed folks, I would say let's start it once we approve it.
Okay.
I mean, maybe we can, give them, like a month or something to grasp what we're asking of them and be able to ask me questions to clarify, but maybe after that they would.
I think that's fair. Give it just a little bit of an on-ramp so people can get their heads around it, put in their internal systems to stay organized, and so it doesn't feel like it's necessarily coming out of the blue.
Okay.
I'd be willing to work on making some tweaks to the cover sheet so it's more appropriate for what we might want.
Okay. It'd be nice if we can show them the cover sheet. When,
Yeah.
Template.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. You just mentioned
Yeah,
that.
just scratch my head, sorry.
Okay. Any other thoughts?
No.
Very cool. Okay. I appreciate you all going over this with me. I don't know. So I've mentioned this opioid settlement advisory committee. I feel like we should do some sort of vote to say if we want to start appointing somebody to it or not. We haven't warned a vote for tonight, so we're not going to do it now. But would that be the appropriate way to proceed with that?
I think so.
Committee.
It's, I feel like a little bit of a tricky topic, so it'll be worthwhile.
Okay. Also okay. Also do that. All right. right, this is just a discussion. Thank you, you all. I think this commission work is very important for us to be doing the work on. And as, you know, so the deputy mayor and I, our next memo that we're working on for this is frequency. But if you have thoughts about what we talked about on the 27th, and you think that there's an item there that you would like us to talk about sooner than Bren and I are rolling these out, you're able to also propose memos. You know, let me know what you'd like to talk about, and you're all new to writing memos, so I'm happy to sit down with you over coffee or a drink or what may be, or Zoom, if you want to do that. If you're fine with Bren and I just rolling this out as we get to it, that also works as well. Okay, one more executive session. I would like to propose an executive session pursuant to 1 VSA 3133 for the evaluation of a public officer or employee to check in with the city manager. No decisions will be made during this executive session. Do I have a motion to enter the executive session with our city manager, Elaine Wong?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Wonderful.